it's one of those type of videos again. What I mean is, it's been a while since I talk about this movie, Dear Evan Hansen. If you guys have not seen my trailer reaction, if you do, that's great, you remember, but if you don't, then allow me to recap everything again. But I forgot to introduce myself. It's me, Daniel, the pop culture dude, and it's one of those videos where I'm not going to be too highly comedic, like, alrighty then, my rule of chums, or now we're mixed for like Sonic Movie 2 news. And you're probably thinking, like, why you're not making another Sonic Movie 2 news video? Because there's other things I want to post in my content, okay? I mean, it's my channel, so I can just post whatever I want. And for this, it's been a while since I talk about this movie, and for some of you people who follow me on Twitter, Dear Evan Hansen, both the musical and the movie means a lot to me, personally. Why? Because Dear Evan Hansen play a big part where I was into theater acting in the musical theater, because, you know, I have the aspirations of an actor, and I am still, like, working on voiceover stuff, but that's a different story. But in high school, I was into theater class a lot. I enjoyed it. It was a nice passion. Until then, this musical class decided to introduce me Dear Evan Hansen, but it wasn't just this musical theater class. I actually had my first ex-girlfriend, which, when we sing one song for the musical, I won't say what it is because I'd rather wait until I review the movie, but we first fell in love through one of the songs as we performed together, and technically we split up over drama reasons, which I will explain in another video one of these days. And one thing I can relate to Evan is the fact that I understand from his social anxiety issues, the fact that he can't really know how to fit in with most of any other people in groups of school, because, you know, having struggles to finally just be truly to himself. And I'm glad that this musical has been getting a lot of praise, and it had a lot of more personal connections when it comes to the songs and the themes, where it is for anyone who feels like outsiders, like whenever they don't fit into like some certain groups of people that they cannot be, where they just feel left out. And I'm glad this movie adaptation actually happened in the works, thanks to director Stephen Chbosky, who made Perks of Being a Wallflower and Wonder, which are great movies featuring young male protagonists just struggling to fit in society over school, just because how different they are, or the fact that they have lack of communications, or the fact that they just don't find the certain right type of people just to be a part of them, you know? And the fact that I'm just really glad that this movie exists in the works. It's sad not a lot of people talk about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love me some blockbusters. I love me some fun. Love me to go watch it with my friends for like whenever it's like a Marvel movie or a big blockbuster movie. But sometimes I just want to like stay away and just find something that's more human and more grounded, and that's what this movie is to me personally. And I do know like most of the songs by heart because it is one of my favorite musical adaptations ever since. And this movie is sadly getting negative reviews, but personally, I don't care if the movie gets a lot of like hate for it on the internet, just because like, oh, the main actor Ben Platt, he's too like old to play a teenager. I don't care, doesn't bother me. How many Hollywood actors do we have where you have young adult actors playing teenagers in a high school movie? Grease, that's one of the examples. But besides that, I'm just excited that Ben Platt is actually reprising his role, his Tony Award-winning role as Evan. I could not picture anybody else to take over the role, and I'm glad that he's back in the movie adaptation thanks to his father, Marc Platt, who eventually is involved in the production of this movie. And most of the original songs are there, except there's like 4 that are cut, which is Anybody Have a Mat, Good For You, and basically the one song that features Evan and the father of Zoe, which I will explain more about this into the musical. But for right now, I'm going to make my final trailer reactions, because if I burst out into singing, guys, that's just, you know, pouring my heart, pouring my soul, but also a slight of nostalgic memories from my high school past. So I'm just going to go start playing the movie right away. It has a lot of great actors. It got musical star herself, Amy Adams, Julianne Moore, some newcomers like Kaitlyn, Nick Dodani. I can go on, but for right now, I'm just going to play the trailer right now in 3, 2, 1.
Dear Evan Hansen is a musical love letter to all those who feel alone.
Have you been doing those letters to yourself with Dr. Sherman?
I've been trying to. Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be an amazing day.
It's dialogue from the musical, so that's how I remember. He has to write letters to himself about, you know, journaling about his expressive thoughts about his mental health. I do the same too, not gonna lie.
And interesting, easy to talk to, approachable.
Just learn how to socialize, get friends,
like a confident version of yourself.
It's not that easy.
slam on the brake.
Love this song. Before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I leave with the worst of me, give them no reason to stare. No slipping up if you slip away.
So
I got nothing to share.
No, I got
Nothing to say.
Would you want to sign my cast? Because we're friends and we're family.
Fun fact, I broke my elbow too, from a tree. He fell from a tree and broke his arm. So, that's how much I can connect to this character.
Now we can both pretend we are friends. Dear Evan Hansen.
This is important for later,
that's
guys.
Mine. I'll just take it. Wait, I need that back. Please don't show it to anyone.
The outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear. So I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. I'm waving through a window.
Connor took a letter from me, and it was an assignment from my therapist.
Yo, Connor Murphy's mother and stepfather here to see you.
Connor
Suicide.
wanted me to have this. Dear Evan Hansen.
This is a pretty mature topic,
His
guys.
last words, Connor took his own life.
Hey, what? I'm sorry, Connor didn't write this.
No, please.
We didn't
And this
think
was the
Connor
biggest
had any
mistake,
friends.
but it's both a gift and a curse.
I mean, you really gonna tell these people that the only
But this
thing they
movie
have left
looks
of their son is a
very
letter that you
shot
wrote to
well
yourself?
with the
No, you and
cinematography.
Connor, tell us something.
It feels
please,
like an
Evan.
actual small
I
indie
started
teen
talking,
drama
you
musical
couldn't
film.
stop. They didn't want me to stop.
I'm putting together a memorial
It's a very
service. If you
complex,
wanted to
deep
do
story.
something-
Pasek Paul, who wrote the songs for those movies and this one. Great filmmaker for those movies.
People started sharing it. It's everywhere.
I don't understand what happened.
You did.
I never make a sound, I never make a sound. On the outside, always looking in.
A lot of people feel like us. People that you wouldn't think. You don't know
'Cause
how
we're
much
never
you've
alone.
given My family and me.
Through a window, I try to speak, but nobody can hear.
I never thought that it would go this far. I was trying to help.
Great actors. Through a window,
You knew who I am.
anybody see?
How broken I am.
I already know you, and I love you.
I have to tell them.
Is anybody waving, waving? Whoa. This movie, this story, doesn't deserve to be forgotten. Like, to be honest, now you can understand like how much I could connect with this, including the song Waving Through a Window. It basically represents the idea of, if you ever feel like you've been an outcast, and the fact that, trust me, like, admit one of these days back at school, whether that's elementary, middle, and high, you probably might sit alone, you eventually having some trouble to find the friends that you believe that you can trust and get along with. We've been there, and so did I too. Sometimes I often sit alone in the cafeteria where I just don't know who to talk to just because I can't find the right type of people that would fit for me. And I bet it's the same for some of you guys who are watching this right now. And waving through a window, it's more like, hey, like, I'm not trying to be the center of attention, but it's okay that I could say hello. Is anyone paying attention? Like, I just want to be a part of the world and just like something that I feel like I have a purpose. That's what the song Waving Through a Window is mostly about, and that's why I find this musical very complex. And I can go on and on with this, and I'm definitely going to play from the perspective of each of the cast members of why Dear Evan Hansen is such a great complex story about depression, loneliness, social anxiety, teen suicide, like all the fact, but most importantly, it's not always like sad and depression. It's mostly just the uplifting like notes about from the songs, from the characters, from the people, the ordinary human beings that will be there whenever you feel alone. And that's what's the greatest takeaway from Dear Evan Hansen. And basically enough, where Evan has no friends and basically has a cast. And as I said before, guys, I used to have a cast too, and I did write people's names all on over, so I kind of understand what Evan's going to. But in a way, it falls like deep into the story that Colton, who happens to be the brother of this girl that he has a crush on named Zoe. But technically, Evan has no friends, but he technically just writes his full name in. But once when he reads the letter that Evan was writing to himself, he eventually read the letter that Colton didn't like, and then sadly, suicide happens. And then when Connor's parents is the fact that they believe that Evan actually has a close friend because he has privilege of drugs, but also having some bad negative habits towards the family. And that's like one of the biggest struggles that most teens nowadays eventually had to go through the pressure with. And I couldn't think Dear Evan Hansen of being, like, in my opinion, the most human musical that I've ever seen. And if you don't believe me, let's just go ahead and go watch the clip from the cast and crew talking about how much the movie, or in this case the story of Dear Evan Hansen, is such an important one to know and understand through.
Evan Hansen's been in my life for about 6 years.
Ever since he played the role on Broadway. It's true, since 2015.
I don't think anyone could anticipate that something would be a cultural phenomenon or would permeate things other than just the theater community and would ultimately become a major motion picture.
And I'm glad it's noticed everywhere in the general public. You learn because you've learned. In the forest, there's nobody around.
Evan struggles with anxiety.
Been there, done that.
Depression. He is very lost and has a lot of difficulty connecting.
No one signed your cast. Now we can both pretend we have friends.
And that's gonna change his life forever.
I remember when I first saw Dear Evan Hansen, how surprised I was, how emotional it is.
How deep it is,
I had
too.
an email from your school about that boy, Connor Murphy.
Connor took his own life.
He what?
We didn't think Connor had any friends, and then we see this. It seems to suggest that you were
His best friend.
Which it was
Being
never
a part of this
established.
has meant so much to me. I was initially so moved when I saw it on stage. There's so many people who need to see Evan's story.
So,
I couldn't agree more, Amy Adams.
Were you
Couldn't
ever
agree
actually
more.
friends with him?
Maybe you should tell him the truth. I tried, but once I started, I just couldn't stop.
Sometimes you just gotta learn how to just be honest and just hide away the ugly truth. Let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay.
One of the more beautiful things about the whole Evan Hansen experience at large has been
The fans.
watching fans giving it a life of its own.
Hashtag you will be
Tattoos even
found.
of lyrics and open letters about how it's affected their
When you're
family
broken on the
relationships
ground,
and their
you will
love
be
of
found.
themselves. I think
When
it's
you need a
striking
friend to
because
carry you.
It's true to our lives. It's real. It's authentic.
He's great
and
as
it
Trevor.
allows us to feel less alone.
With the film, people will continue to latch on to parts and characters and songs and incorporate it in their lives and make it their own. It's so clearly going to live
Absolutely.
on, whether it's girls who connect to Zoe or parents who feel seen by the Murphys or
You can
single
see
mothers who
yourself
feel seen
in
by
these people.
Oftentimes,
And that's what
the
I
moment
appreciate
that
from
we're
it.
in feels like the only moment that will ever exist. But that's not the case.
Ever. The passion through. You will be found. You will be found. Can't wait to see this movie next Friday, and I will make a review about this, guarantee. I don't care if anybody says about the fact if you're not interested. So if you're not interested in this movie, then maybe this isn't for you. Just go watch something that interests you. But from a perspective of someone being a theater kid, but also personal connections of the relatability of Evan himself, but also the world for where he's in, I feel like this is important for me just to share, and also get to show the more human side of me and not like the fun usual stuff that I usually would do. So other than that, I will bring in tissues, I will get teary in some moments, and I will show more about it, guys. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that Dear Evan Hansen exists, and I just cannot wait to see it next Friday. I might make another video related to Dear Evan Hansen, go review over the songs if you guys are not familiar with them. The ones that you just heard from the first one was Waving Through a Window and You Will Be Found, which was marketed everywhere for the film, and I bet you might get interested as long as you are invested into the story of these characters, if this convinces you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.